This is Roddy Radio, the podcast, and we have today with us a very important person from, you may have heard him on Gritty Knows Best, you may have heard him on No Name Yet podcast, you might know him as Crosif, some people know him as Attempted Murder Mo Dom, or you might know him as simply Mo the Crow. Mo.
Wow.
Thank you for being here.
That was like the most professional, respectful opening I've ever received.
I was going
like
for
4 years.
Hey, you can hear I don't know if you can hear it, but the crows.
I did hear it.
The crows ascended.
I was like, this was amazing.
The crows, descended. No, yeah, descended. They didn't ascend. But yeah, I was going for that for the old school intros. Gritty Knows Best. He used to do those intros all the time back in the day. Doesn't really do those anymore. Those long intros like that. Now he just kind of goes. No. But I mean, you guys are on season 5 going into season 6.
I believe so.
So it's like you need no introduction anymore, really. You know.
At this point, I believe I guess that's his mindset now. We don't need introductions, and it's kind of true. It does work, and I being on it for so long and knowing that we have an idea of all the fans and who's watching, so. It's really consistent. Being able to just jump right into it with the guys is always fun. You know what I'm saying? So just having that, like, we bust each other balls, and then and here comes Gritty, busting our balls and saying, "Shut the fuck up." But that is, I'm very happy to be able to go that long with my boys. They never thought that we would be doing something like this for so long.
Yeah, I was talking to him about that.
By the way, your open is better than passer too. I just want to put that out.
Oh, okay. Continue. Wow. You're pitting us all against each other now.
Just passer, because passer, he's a godly man, but he gives me the most disrespectful openings.
That's true. He pulls the worst of you. Now, I did say Attempted Murder Mo. But that's one of your names. That's one of your monikers.
But that's a true statement. That is. It's something that might happen to somebody if they play with me the wrong way.
Now, there's a story behind that. What's the story behind the Attempted Murder Crow?
There's multiple stories behind it, but the one story, I have a friend named Hydro that we grew up with in high school, who's now a father, and he basically. When I was younger, around my 13 and 14, I was a very different person, not happy type of person, never smiled at you, didn't make eye contact with you. I was one of those kids, like I gave off school shooter vibes, right? Because that in my head, no, seriously, because in my head, I felt that way. I felt like I wanted to shoot up a school. So when people he messed with me at this program in the summer, and he just got me so mad, and the train was coming. And I knew the train was coming. It was I believe it was the 1 train. He said it was like the 2, whatever. But I just got so annoyed, and I grabbed him and I hung him over the yellow line in New York City trains. And I knew the train was coming. I was gonna drop him. Really was gonna drop him. He was gonna die that day. Like That's it was for all intensive purposes. I was planning on killing him that day.
Yeah.
No hesitation. And he got saved.
How did he get saved though? You just had a change of heart at the last second, or what?
No. Somebody actually, physical staff members saw what was happening. Like he was dangling. His feet was not on solid ground.
So there was no regret or remorse from you. You would have done it if it wasn't for that other person.
If it wasn't for 3 other people running up and grabbing me and pulling me off of him, and then grabbing him and pulling him into the ground, he would have died that day.
That's wild. But he still talks to you to this day?
Yeah, he's my one of my best friends. He's my brother now. I long apologize to that. I apologize to him, especially after when I found out he was having a baby. I've done it multiple times already. I apologize in like other ways, but I really sat down and it just had a man-to-man moment and just went to the past. And he finds it the funniest shit in the world. I went in the past and just opened up to him and apologized. And, he already knew where I was coming from and why I was like that. But at the time, he understands. But yeah, I'm not that type of person anymore in the sense of I'm not looking to do anything like that to anybody. But if I'm annoyed enough and somebody feels like they're gonna cross the line, I'm not one of those people that will feel bad for what I do next.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
doesn't cross my mind.
How often do you think that
And
happens in the subways of New York?
at least 5 times a day.
I think there's
If
at
not
least
five being max, three
maybe three
average.
times a day, like people dying.
Three.
Or
Yeah, somebody getting pushed into the train tracks. Um, 3 times a day average.
is that
Probably the most I would say like five.
yeah? And the kind of the way I figure is like if it wasn't happening often, it would be reported on every time it happens, but we never see reports of it though. So that means it's just common and not like report
It's
worthy.
very common.
So it's not report worthy
No,
anymore. That's crazy, man.
listen, I remember when you were. Do you ever play Pokemon
Not really,
as a
no.
kid?
No.
No, not even the little video games. Well, it was Black and White. Pokemon Black and White just came out. And I was there on the line at GameStop. I was so excited. I was about to go to school, play with my boys Eddie, Clay, and Tashim, and we were gonna play the game all together, right? And I got late to school because somebody right in front of me, this dude, looked at him right and made eye contact, pulled my 3DS out, see here the train is coming. And as I watch the man, he looks at me, I look at him. He had all five, like, oh, he was about to like. I'm like, this man looks like he about to kill himself, vibe. And he really did jump in front of the train. What do you think my reaction was? He died. He made me wait fucking a whole 45 minutes. That
And
was
you
long train to school. I was late.
saw how old were you when you saw that?
That was 17,
That's crazy.
17,
That
16.
was actually my next question is if you ever seen anyone die. But
Multiple times.
that's insane. Was that your first? You pop your dead person cherry?
No. The first time I ever seen somebody die was when I was living with my father around seven, I believe it was 7 or 6, and we were living in Brooklyn, New York, and the neighborhood. This would be before the gangs became the gangs y'all see it today, like with young kids. So at this time, it was a lot of just my area was Bloods and Crips and stuff like that. But the sets were pretty well known. And this young kid that he was already a teenager. When I got off the school bus, I was walking into my building, my apartment building, and the door locks behind you. So, I'm walking towards the stairs and I hear somebody like knock on the door in the back, in the front of the window, so behind me. And I turn around and this kid, he had his red hat on and his do-rag was hanging out from the side. So I knew he was blood. Um, I knew he was blood. He was banging on the door, like, yo, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. And my instinct was like, oh, I'll just let him in. My father came down and said, yo, do not let him in. Now, apparently, well, I didn't know at the time. Um, I didn't know at the time, but this young kid was being chased by people a few blocks down. But they were only close enough that they had their guns ready. They were about to end him. My
Yeah, yeah.
father saw it coming from down the block, told me, do not open the door because basically, if I opened that door, I was about to get blasted with the kid.
Yeah. Been a
So,
casualty.
so my dad opened the door, opened the house apartment door. No, don't fucking do that. Don't open the door. And the guy's like, I looked at him. He's crying in front of me, like he's crying, bawling. Like I'm like, what is going on? Like freaking out. But at the same time, I'm kind of calm about it. But I'm like, I want to help him. Like the instinct is to help him. But my dad is like, do not open that fucking door. And I'm like confused. And then boom, 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 boom. Just blood just bursted right in front of me. He slid down in the front of
Splattered
the
on
apartment
the
building
glass,
door.
huh?
Gone.
Damn. How'd you handle that as a kid?
I went straight to therapy.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
My one thing, my father was a gangbanger, drug dealer, but and all of that shit like that. But he did believe in therapy. Like he will say that. I will give that to him. He'd be like, yo, you got to go to therapy. Like
He knew
you're
that
not supposed
wasn't,
to see that.
despite him being kind of desensitized to that kind of shit, he knew a little kid wouldn't be able to handle it without help.
That's what he thought. In reality, to be honest with you, when I got upstairs, he did the whole thing. You know how fathers are. I'm sure you are like this with your kid. He did the checking, he did the conversation, and everything else like that. But I didn't react. To be honest with you, I mean, did I have nightmares later on? I did have nightmares later on. The nightmares went for like a year to 2 years. I didn't say anything to anybody.
What were the nightmares? Just replaying it?
It was his screams,
Okay.
his crying, just begging. knowing that I could have saved a life at 7. You know, at that point in my life, I was still so innocent. I was a kid that like I loved Spider-Man and jumping. I wanted to be a hero.
Yeah, yeah,
I wanted to help other people because I felt like no one was helping me. So it went against my nature to turn my back on somebody.
yeah.
Um, but I also follow orders very well. So like I do what my father. I always did what my father told me to do. So, that to me at that age, my father was my hero. He was the toughest, meanest guy. I mean, we had guns. He had prostitutes in our house. I mean, he had every bitch walking in naked in our house. He was selling drugs. He's making money. He was showing me a lifestyle that like I was like, yo, this is the guy. So I never doubted anything that was taught to me. But once that happened, one, I didn't want to show him that it affected me in any way.
Hmm.
So I just stayed quiet, but I went to therapy. I mean, but the thing about it was I couldn't truly have therapy because my father was in the drug game. I could never say the truth.
You couldn't say 100% of the truth. Yeah.
E- Exactly. So because and therapists are good. Like, he would tutor us about like what you should say when you're in school. Agencies come in. You had therapy. Like he would tutor us. So I'm like I said, I follow orders. I'm the good kid. So,
Yeah.
I never said anything that would put my father in jail
Yeah.
or my parents and my brothers because my brothers was in the game, my father was in the game. My father was teaching us how to move, so it was just like, all right, you can't betray the family. And he would always say, don't ever tell the white man too much of your business.
Yeah. And that's good advice even when it's when you're not doing anything illegal. White people don't have any reason to know what the hell we're doing, behind closed doors.
Exactly. And growing up now, being a grown man now, I mean, it's a philosophy I live by. And I learned my lesson. I went through that stage where I opened my mouth too much and trying to be truthful with people and honesty with people. People really don't take that shit very honorably.
Yeah.
You would think so, but they don't. They actually kind of push away from honesty and truth. So I just felt like I became a liar, and I was a liar for most of my life. That's all I did was lie. So it was a habit that I had to break out of.
There comes a point when you realize that you're really good at lying when you start lying and even you start believing your own shit. You know what I mean? 'Cause I've been
That's
there.
the point I got to.
Been there as a lot younger also, where it's like, shit, was that for real? Like you start believing like that really happened or not? Nah, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
It it was bad. I mean, Roddy, I'm talking about seeing things bad. I mean, like because I had nobody to talk to and all I just had family secrets. To this day, I can't say certain things because of, I've been to Rikers Island visiting my mom and my brothers and my fathers multiple times. I've been to
Hmm.
Rikers Island as much as the niggas that go to inside.
Yeah.
So, so people will go there and know my name. I'm like, so it got to the line became like so real. Like I could tell you, Roddy, I would switch up something and it wouldn't affect me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't affect me. And I really believed it. I really believed it. I could change my emotion because I just lied about it. No, I am happy. And I will,
And you
it
believed
got
it.
too much where I
It
couldn't
was it
control
was
it
your
anymore. And it would
reality.
just, yep. I started my reality into the point where it just broke me.
Oh shit. Well, shit, man, that's crazy. I didn't know you've seen that close. I figured you would have, and then that's the thing. And then there's that instinct thing, like you said. Your instinct was to help him out. When it comes to like definitely growing up, I think in New York City, any one of you guys from out there is gonna have 100 times more sensitive of an instinct, survival instinct than people out here out west do. Just because we don't have to deal with stuff like that.
No, no. And that's not even accounting the bodies that just started falling. Like, when you hear about on the news about child gangs and the kids that's today running around, right?
Yeah.
That started around like I could tell you when that started because I was one of those wild ass kids, right? That helped start that up. It was around like 2007 when I was around the age of, like I said, 8, 9, before I went back into foster care. I was out there with the kids because I had a revolver and guns in the house. My father made sure we knew how to use the gun in the house.
Yeah.
Hide it. How do you hide coke? How do you hide crack? How do you hide weed? How do you like everything? So we would at this point we were children of gang members, right?
Hmm.
Of OGs and people who probably been in the game for a while. And so a lot of them were wild. A lot of our parents were wild people. So we kind of just adopted their wild mentality and we're kids. So when I say we were running around and like the news was reporting on like kids in middle school killing each other, robbing each other, it was that early point.
Yeah, yeah.
And now those same kids are the same ones everybody's talking about early now. That's like, yo, like it's wild. And it's something big thing I regret is being like, yeah, I was a part of that whole era of kids breaking into people's houses and
Yeah.
cars and stealing and shooting. Like at first, when my parents they were just stealing shit. It got to the point where we had guns at like 10 and 11 years old, and we would have 15-year-olds in New York City just walking inside school. I would have my revolver in my book bag at school, like no problem.
Yeah.
But what teacher knows what teacher is going to think that this little kid with big glasses and no hair, I don't look like a wild kid. I'm dressed in a
You
uniform.
got a big
Who
old
would
gun in your
think?
backpack.
I look a little nerdy. Like no one would expect me to have it.
Yeah.
But I was a danger to other students and my
Damn.
peers.
It is crazy. But, you got out of all that kind of stuff. What was the turning point where you're just like, this ain't it?
Um, the turning point, to be honest with you, and it's going to sound really crazy for a lot of people, um, but it was when my after a few years after my grandmother had passed away, I had my first like spiritual dream. What no drugs, no, because I didn't start using drugs and shit like that until like mid 20, like I smoke, dabble with weed a little bit here and there, but no drugs, no nothing. And I had a spiritual dream, one of those coming to God dreams, and
Hmm.
that's when they started hitting me. Um, and then after that, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to what my grandmother said in the dream, do what she said. And then I just started trying to stepping away from the behaviors that I was familiar with because I was struggling with trying to be who I am and what people wanted me to be. I was so worried about being what everybody needed me to be that I would ignore the fact I am a nerd, I'm a geek. Like I like to read comic books and watch anime.
Yeah.
I like to dress up in costumes and go to like shows and shit like that. That's who I really am. But I ain't never do that.
Well, you
Why?
had to put up a
Because
front. Yeah.
I have to put up a front. And the front got so tiring. Like I'm a nerdy guy. Like I actually like playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards and D&D and shit. Things that like kids who are nerds will get the chance to do. I never got to
Yeah.
do. So I wanted to go and explore who the fuck I was as a person. And once my grandmother appeared in my dream, I realized like, yo, I'm not this.
That's cool
I'm
though.
like,
That's like
yes.
Moana.
You
Remember?
said Moana?
Yeah, remember her dead grandma shows up and tells her what to
Oh
do.
yes, she did. Moana 2 is coming out with the live action as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. That should be
It's gonna be
great.
horrible.
Well, I was talking about Moana too. Yeah, live action stuff I'm not a big fan of. But have you
Yeah,
ever had?
yes.
Have you ever put drugs in your butt?
Never in my butt. That
No.
sounds crazy.
Is that like no? But like not to do them up like anally, but like to hide them.
To hide them? No, I've never had to do that. That's usually a female thing. I mean, in my opinion, usually you use women to do that when you want to get drugs in and out of places.
Yeah.
I was in foster care, so when I saw my parents, it was always with like a foster agent,
Oh, so
something
they
like
could
that.
never put
So
anything in your
yeah.
butt. What's the biggest thing you've
But
had in your butt then?
the biggest thing I put in my butt was my thumb
Why'd you put your thumb in your ass?
to clean my ass.
You use your thumb. You like. I use one
How
of
do you
those.
clean your ass?
I use one of those bottle scrubbers. Those.
Bottle scrubbers. You
Yeah,
actually
for like
need that.
baby
Let me
bottles,
say
you
I've
buy
never
them
seen
to like wash dishes, and they got that foam in the brush. Just stick that foam up my ass and twirl it around.
Really? Nah, you fucking with me. All you need is your thumb and a white washcloth.
Oh, white. It has to be white. So you
Because
know
you
when
gotta make sure that it's clean.
So you know when you're finished.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck? You don't want to be in black. How do you know this is?
You don't want any shit colors. Green.
Yeah, yeah, and then you can want you throw it in the washer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, two fingers. If you really need help, you really need to get into it. You use two fingers, but you need to get in that asshole. Ain't gay if it's your
Shit.
asshole.
That's true. That's true. So, kind of going back um to the podcast of the Gritty Knows Best, you've been like a
Yes,
part of like the best moments. You know, some of the best moments,
apparently.
like
I don't
from the
think the
very
best moments,
beginning,
but
like the No More Chicken.
ah,
That was like a classic GKB moment from way back. I think that was season one.
wearing wearing Justin's shirt right now. I
Hell
actually
yeah.
fucked in Justin's shirt last night. So,
Oh
shout
yeah.
out to you,
Did you
Justin.
fucking
Yeah, yeah,
come on his
yeah.
face?
Yeah, I got pussy juice all over his face. Um, so you welcome, Justin. Yeah, that episode was wild. So I got roasted and yelled at by Justin. One of the funniest shit ever to me. One of the best memories of the show. I didn't like it in the moment, but looking back
Yeah,
now,
you were like pissed. I think
hilarious.
that was the first episode I heard with you on it. So that was like my introduction to you. And like that was before I
Really?
met you guys or anything. And so like I had you like pictured completely different than once I met you too. Is it so?
What was your image
I think it
of?
was what you were saying before. Like I didn't expect you to be like this nerdy dude with big glasses. Like I don't know. I pictured like a bigger black dude. I pictured fucking I pictured Dre. I guess is what it was like the
Yeah,
way
you
Dre
pictured Dre?
looks.
That, yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, the way Dre looks. That's how I assumed you looked. And then
That's funny as hell. Listen, I was telling somebody like when I used to go into the psych wards, people used to act the same way to me. They'd be like, it would be the big ones that would be scared of me.
yeah,
So
that
I don't
makes
know why
sense.
regular people are not scared of me, but like when I go into psych wards, they're like, I'll leave that kid, leave
Because
that
it's
man
because
alone.
it's like it takes one to know one. You know, like if you're
Exactly.
nuts, you know who else is fucking nuts. Has nothing to do with looks or with appearance, with size, anything.
It's energy. It's
Yeah,
all energy.
exactly. You've been part of every I believe every Valentine's Day episodes for with Gritty Knows Best. Those have been,
Which I hate fucking Valentine's.
and you do because you say Cupid is a child
He's a
molester or
fact.
something.
He's a child molester.
Is it or was it Cupid or was it Saint Valentine
Cupid.
that Cupid? Where did you get that tidbit of
Well, it
information?
was actually Saint Valentine, but to me, Cupid and Valentine's, Saint Valentine's is all the same shit because they're all created through the same mythical stories bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I, and I don't know why I can't find it. I remember watching the History Channel, and they were showing like documentaries, and I cannot find this documentary for the life of me. The world is making me look like an asshole. But I remember
Maybe
watching
you
this,
had
and
a
it would give me
dream
like,
like that time you dreamed about your grandma.
nah, that was too real. That one, that dream was so fucking real. I don't sleep on my back. I faded into it, and it was crazy. But no, this was. I remember watching TV and seeing a documentary, and just they talked about Saint Valentine's and his history, um, and then one of the people gave a depth like what he was like known for and rumors, and that he messed with young kids, young boys. He was into children, like young kids, like what Catholics do, old Catholic heads do back in those days.
Still,
So he was
still.
one of those guys.
That's why because like when you first said that, like I went researching, and I learned a lot. Like they still have his skull, and he's the patron saint of epilepsy, and like I learned so much about him, but not a single thing about him being like a chomo. So
Well, yeah. So I'm trying to. So even then, I'm like, yo, I know what I saw, but you know what? Until I find that documentary again, he's off the hook.
the Saint Valentine estate just scrubbed the internet of that information, maybe.
Which is possible. It's not the first. It's not like people wouldn't look that stuff up and find out. But like, yeah, like, but also like, let's be real. Like at that time period, these people doing stuff like this anyway.
Yeah.
So even if you heard it to be true and it confirmed it, no one
Yeah,
would
well,
really
it's
be
not
surprised.
surprising, and that's everything. It's like even the ancient Greeks, the Greek philosophers would take a
Yup.
young bard under their wings and I'll philosophize with you, teach you how to think,
Samurai
show
teachers
you
did
how
the
to
same
think.
thing.
Yep, but if I want a blowjob, you're gonna give me a blowjob.
Roman soldiers did the same thing.
Yeah,
it's a very common thing in history where teachers or soldiers like they just that's how they be building that bond.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's no better bond than like, your dick
Your
in
dick
someone's
in my
mouth.
ass.
Yeah, and you're in your ass. Yeah.
You're not my brother until you put your dick in my ass.
And every year the Valentine's Day special seems to get crazier and wilder. It started out with you giving some sexy tips and talking about slicing bitches and shit, and then then you have the dom off. Then this very last one, I believe I want to say, with 98% certainty that you're the only other man who I've seen their penis over a Zoom call, because we were on this episode and things escalated to that point. We were on with a popular creator. I was gonna say OnlyFans. She is on OnlyFans, but she's more active on Chatterbait, which is what you guys are. What you guys used to promote Chatterbait pretty heavily in those first seasons.
Yeah, I got the boys into Chatterbait.
You were the one that started that?
Yeah, so I started Chatterbait when I was like high in my sex addiction at like 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do was I always had money, so I would take like $500. I would have like my little fake little debit card because I wasn't over 18. I would take it, go to Walgreens, get the little credit cards, put money on that shit, and I would just go on Chatterbait, and I would just like make grown women do nasty things for me.
See, you're like enough of a lower generation than me where things changed, like the Pokemon thing. That's why I didn't play Pokemon, because I was like it's like a little bit too old when that started coming out, or else I probably would have played Pokemon. And then like you're talking about Chatterbait. I'm 37. I'll be 38 in a couple months.
Yeah. Okay.
So not like a lot older, but where I'm just that like that line is just right there, right between us. Because then like you're talking about getting I did the same thing, but it wasn't Chatterbait. It was for phone calls, for like 1-800 sex talk and shit.
I did that too.
So I would load the prepaid card and then sit there and freaking, what are you wearing? So what would you do with my dick? It's big and all that shit,
You're trying not to sound like a kid, even though your voice is still not.
Yeah. You still sound like a little girl, but
Chatterbait is great because I don't have to talk, I don't have to be seen.
You're watching, you're tipping, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So being 15 and just watching, just finding your favorite women and just paying them. I mean, there's so many girls out there that probably got paid from boys under 18.
Yeah. And that's where you guys knew, Thomas just, shot his shot with her, with Miss J. She comes on the show a couple times, and then this last time I got to be a part of that, thankfully, that Valentine's Day episode, you guys started having that dom off. Things got out of control. So if people want to see some wild shit, she busted out her titties. This fool fucking busted out his wiener. And
I don't got a wiener. I got a BBC.
Got that foot long. Fuck.
I got that foot long.
So obviously it's on YouTube. It's obviously censored. They can't put it up. I was there, so I saw like the uncensored version, which was insane. But it's very entertaining. Go check that out if you haven't, and if you have, go check it out again, because that shit is wild. So I'm just wondering how we're gonna top that for next Valentine's Day.
I think I got an idea.
Are you gonna say it here?
I got a great idea. I think I'm actually gonna start share some of my wilder stories next year. I do a lot of crazy shit in my private life, so especially when it comes to sex and in general. But been exploring more adventurous stuff. So maybe next year, this Valentine's, I'll tell somebody some stories and yeah.
Yeah. See, that's a good idea. I mean, if I can think of at least one that I have that's fairly wild that I could tell too. So that's
ladies. Roddy is nasty.
Always. Look
forward to seeing him on the Gritty Knows Best this Valentine's to hear that nasty story.
And so, when you guys started doing the podcast, is that? I mean, you kind of touched on it before, but I mean, you never thought it was going to go this long.
No.
What was your kind of goal, or were you just along for the ride? What was your train of thought when you guys started recording these?
Well, for me, I know that the guys, because I had just got out of the breakup and stuff like that. Like I went back to my suicidal mindset, and so the guys did what they do best. That group is they look out for each other, and Gritty wanted to already do a podcast. We were in a pandemic, so he got us all together, which was great. And for me, I really didn't expect anything. He said to be like treated like a diary, like a journal, and just have fun, hype yourself, like give the just amplify who you are and just go crazy and have fun with it. And we use it as a stress reliever. So a lot of the people that, if you watch the early episodes, that's how we survived the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, it was a tough moment for a lot of people. So so for me, I just went in, just wanted to support Brady because he's always been somebody for me, even in high school, that when I needed a place to go, put my head down, his family was always welcoming. He was always welcoming. He would do his music thing back in the day, and I would just go with him and help move CDs and stuff like that. None of this stuff was my interest, but he's my boy. I'm not gonna say no to my boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he started this, I was like, I don't got nothing better else to do, so I just did it, and yeah, I got all that wonderful magic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're a huge part of it. Like, you can't imagine the show being the show what it is, without you. So
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'd never even think like that, to be honest with you.
yeah. And moving on, there's this duality to you for sure, though, because it's like you were saying before. You're a nerdy kid. You like comic books. You like certain Disney things, I believe, and
Yeah,
you
I'm
know
a big Disney kid.
you like all that stuff. But but you've had that rough upbringing, and the drugs stuff, the growing up, and the violence, and so it's really a big duality. So like a guy with that tough upbringing, you would never think of them as someone that would think of an idea of the engagement crown.
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
how and when did you come up with the idea of the engagement crown? And just to explain to people, instead of an engagement ring, you think it'd be great to give someone an engagement crown.
um, to be honest, because of that hard upbringing, the shit that I had to survive, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people see themselves like this or not. Having a disability, I have overcome so many challenges, and I have like things that I will never say out loud to people because it just will. It's not good, but I survived things, shootouts, fucking violence, domestic violence, like watching all types of shit. And I see myself as a king, right? So I see myself as a king, right? And we're Americans, and let's be real, we're all competing against each other. And that's okay. I like that as an American, that I'm competing with my peers. But when I see myself as somebody who has a disability, get farther than those with who grow up in the same situations and using excuses and treating themselves and other people like around them as tools, and I'm the way I am. I see myself as royalty. I know I'm blessed. I know I'm here for something. So I see myself as a king. So when I pick a woman, I want her to see herself as a queen. So a woman that survives and understands that like we came from the bottom, now we're here. That's that royalty blood. That's our ancestors in us. We are honoring where we come from because we live to honor them. At the end of the day, we are lucky. We are blessed. We don't get beat, enslaved, and treated like cattle. We're blessed. So we don't need to take all that time and complain about what we lack. Instead, push forward. So when I put a crown, when I say engagement crown, is because the ring in itself and how it was formulated into society doesn't impress me. And I'm somebody that wants to constantly change the rules of the game. I don't want to play by the same rules as anybody because I never had to. I mean, like people tried to make me, and I just had to find my way to survive. So I don't care about the things other people value because they're not for me to value. We don't value the same way. And people that most people out there, they just like none of those things matter. And I kind of think that like the engagement ring has been um just diluted, and women don't respect it and men don't respect it, and no one really cares about the idea of marriage anymore. So like for me, sometimes you have to change the game in simple ways to reunite people's imagination,
See, and I agree with
because there's
that.
no
But do you think they're going to respect like a crown?
who's going to respect the crown.
Well, I'm asking because yeah, I agree
The
that
women.
people don't really respect rings, whether it's the person wearing it or people on the outside. They don't like a ring used to mean something. Like
Yes.
like if you saw a woman wearing a ring back in the day, no one would hit on her. But now it's like it doesn't matter. You still got a chance to hit
Yes.
that.
So obviously, so I think a lot of people think I'm not going to get my girl a ring in general, but
You're
yeah,
getting
she's
her a
still
ring,
going to get a ring
but you are doing
for
this
the
crown
engage.
thing.
But I do want to do the crown. If I have the
Where do
money
you
to do the
even
crown, I
get a
would do the crown.
crown these days?
I don't know yet, but I know you can get anything.
Is she gonna have to wear that for like the entire engagement?
It's funny because the way I thought about it, it wasn't one of those how like you ever saw those crowns where it's just like a thin layer of gold that
Uh huh.
goes around the head,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe there's like a jewel in the front. I forget what cultures have used that style of crown. That's what I thought about as an engagement crown,
You
not
used to
like an
see that a
actual
lot in
like
cartoons, like
Cinderella.
yeah. So just like a
Yeah,
headband with a big jewel in the
something she
middle.
could put her hair over, and it looks cute, and you see the jewel in front in the middle of her temple, in the forehead, and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. See, so that was because that kind of answers my next one. I was like, people are just gonna snatch that. Like, it's gonna be easy to steal. But I guess if it's this
Oh
style,
no, I can't just give her a fucking like Cinderella crown and be like, yo, where's and we got crackheads and like I'm not letting her walk around like that. That's wow.
so
But
are you
but
getting a
she
crown
even
also?
understands not to wear it like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's just like more of a joke but serious like love thing.
yeah. Are you getting a crown also? Then is that what I mean?
Um, I want to. I just can't decide on my design. I'm very picky.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's insane to me. And you explain on Gritty Knows Best. Also, you just have this fantasy wedding. You know, I
I
told
do.
Thomas that I think you're gonna just be a total bridezilla. That he needs to once these plans start, getting set in motion. He's got to follow you around with a camera. Do that MTV kind of thing.
Oh no, I'm a true roomzilla, whatever you want to call it. Like I've always wanted to be married and I've thought about my wedding since I was a child.
Wow, that's insane to me.
Ever since I was a kid. My parents weren't married. They were always violent towards each other. And the people will sit around in the hood being talking about this is what love is and da 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 da. This is how you're supposed to treat a husband and a wife. And I just saw that, like, especially in the black community, no one actually cared. No, none of the men really gave a fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No one cared. And I thought that was like I thought that was sad. Like,
yeah.
why are we even dating women?
If
Then
you're
if
not
it
gonna
don't even
follow
matter,
through
like
on it,
what?
yeah,
Like I'm doing all this work and it doesn't even matter. So I've never did anything in my life that didn't matter. Um, so the idea of just throwing money at a wedding for a woman just didn't turn me on. It didn't make me want to marry a woman. It just made me be like, all right, yo, like I'll just we can be. I was dead ass gonna be a baby daddy for most of my life.
yeah,
But when I found my girl now, I was like, you know what? This is a woman that I can do that with, and she actually loves the idea that she doesn't care for all that stuff. She's like, I don't, she don't care for the flowers. So she's like, yo, you choose that, you choose this, you choose that. Like, she has the ideas of what she wants to do and what she doesn't want to do. What's too overwhelming for her and what's perfect for me.
but she kind of changed your mentality on that, then, huh? Because I remember when you first started, dating her,
Yeah.
and it was just a completely different mo from one episode to the next.
Yeah, 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 yeah. She did change my mentality on it. I mean, every conversation, anything I told you guys, she knows.
Yeah.
So if she wasn't really down with it, the relationship would have ended like a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's why you guys have lasted because you could be so honest and you can have these honest conversations, whether they're comfortable or not. So
Listen, she wants to dress up in a all black dress
yeah, like a
on some
crow,
like Wednesday shit.
some real crow shit.
like some real, and that had nothing to do with me. She was like, "Nah, I always thought a black wedding dress would be fire." She thought everybody's doing white, so she was already in her mindset of like, "Yeah, let's just change the game, like
Yeah.
just make people just come and be like, what the fuck is this?"
Just
Like
completely opposite.
the idea of that to us made us happy to see our friends and family being like, "This is not what a wedding is supposed to look like."
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool to think about. To just blindside people. They're expecting one
Yes.
thing and it's just a completely different one. Well, that's pretty cool. See, I can get behind that. I don't know about the crown though, but
Roddy, are you still willing to play music for me?
oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I told her about you and I showed a video of you like because I don't have it now, but you was doing the performance, you had the hat on and everything.
Yeah, back in the day.
And I said I love the sound, I love his band. I would love to have a band like this at the and she, she being Puerto Rican, her Spanish side was like, she got her. Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, bring him, bring him.
Yeah, back in the
So how
day,
much
we
do you
could
charge for those type of
we
things?
could get the boys back together for something like that, and I don't know. I mean, pays that was those videos are like 10 years old. You know what I mean? But
Wow.
so I don't honestly. I've been kind of out of the game. So I'm not sure how much they're charging now. Back in the day, it wasn't too bad. Back in the day, it was like $1,000. But back in the day, everything was
Oh, that's
a
not
lot
bad.
less expensive.
Yeah,
The
that's
last
true.
time
It's
I
true.
was in a band was in 2019, and even then, it was like I was went from making like me myself, not the entire band, but me myself. I'd go home with $500 after a wedding or a quinceañera or something.
Wow.
So it was
Okay.
good money, but that was a while.
And that would
So
be you. That would just be you just performing by yourself.
no, that was with the band, but that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like, I'm not even sure how much how he was charging for the band because he'd have to charge enough to pay us each, probably
yes.
500 or whatever it was, and still keep his part as far as like taking equipment, gasoline, and vehicle and
Yeah.
everything. Because we'd haul the trailer, we had our own equipment, we'd set up our own stage and everything. So
Oh,
so
wow.
so it's a lot of work because that was kind of the trade off. Or you could go like in the winter, weddings and quinceañeras and stuff slows down, but then you just do pretty much all bar gigs all winter, which is really easy. You just show up, plug in. A lot of the places already have sound system. You just plug in
Hmm.
and play, and get drunk and have a good time and go home with maybe 150 bucks.
That's a good fucking night right
Yeah.
there.
But then on the other side, but when you're doing these other shows like weddings and stuff like that, it's a lot more work. You're going to be there, especially if you're traveling a long way. Sometimes we'd get hired, 2-3 hours away or even more.
Hmm.
So you have to get out there pretty early, set up, unload, and it's a whole day affair. But you're coming home the next day like 6-7 in the morning, but you got $500 in your pocket. So it's like
It was worth it.
yeah, so it's worth it. It's a lot more work, but it's worth it. So, but yeah, hell yeah, we could definitely work something out once you guys get married.
I love
Maybe
the sound of this.
wear some
Big fan of
crowns.
your sound, and I always love those type of bands. And it's just so funny because like I said, I always wanted a wedding, and I thought about this, and that was exactly so ironic that somebody like yourself, who plays in that type of band, is a friend of mine now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
everything is working out exactly the way I wanted it to. So
and it was like me and my brother and me we always grew up listening to a lot of rap and a lot of punk rock and a lot of the Mexican stuff and so we kind of brought that energy to those. It was still like kind of the traditional northern Mexican music with the accordion and everything, but we brought more of a punk rock energy, and
giving people a show.
faster beats. Everybody's dancing around instead of back in the day we just kind of stood there and incredible
was dancing around
musicians,
you.
but there wasn't much to look at. And I was in shape back then, man. I was in real good shape.
And
back then.
it's the outfits for me, bro.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're fire. I think they're some of the coolest outfits, especially when you put the cowboy. Oh God,
Yeah.
bro, like
Yeah, yeah.
clean.
Got that black cowboy hat.
You still got your hats?
I think I have one black hat. I got rid of some. I used to have a couple, but I think I only have like one left. It's probably in that closet somewhere. Yeah. So speaking of black, you're black.
I'm black.
So you're voting for Donald Trump, I'm assuming, in November.
I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I'll tell you that.
Who you voting for? You voting for what was her name that pastor's voting for?
Oh, what? Jill
Jill Stein. Are you
Steinstein.
voting for Jill Stein?
Um, no, I'm not voting for anybody. To be honest, I'm just gonna be doing local this year.
But you're not doing the
Um,
presidential
but
vote.
honestly,
You can't fathom voting for either side at this
I
point.
can't fathom like that. Both sides feel like they just it for me it's the corporations like just knowing that
Oh
these
yeah.
corporations have this much power over everything like it's sickening now, um the whole for example the anti-Semitic thing on the Democratic side, right? They're paying these Jewish organizations are paying for the liberals to push out a certain narrative. And then Donald Trump, again, one of his donors, they did it. They went to the Republicans, and now they're trying to pay Donald Trump to continue with the war on ISIS. And when people bring that up with Donald Trump, he was gonna have my vote when I thought he wasn't going to continue that thing in with the Palestine. But once I realized and looked at his donors and said, "Oh wow, money is coming. You're taking that money. I can't support you."
Yeah.
I can't support the genocide of any living creature, period.
When it comes right down to it, any politician of these modern times is going to be a warmonger.
Yeah.
It's kind of you're not voting for either war or peace. You're voting for the war on this or the war on that. Either way, there's going to
Yeah.
be war. There's going to
There
be
will be a
bloodshed.
war.
My whole thing
And
is,
mhm.
I mean, I can't even vote, but Donald Trump put children in cages. Donald Trump really riled up all the racists. I talked about this with Pastor when he was on the show about how I don't think, regardless of who wins, Democrats or Republicans, we're all going to be the same in the same shithole
Yes.
economy and the same shithole situation that we're going to be. It's all going to be the same, except that my neighbors aren't going to be so willing to call me a spick out loud. They're not
Yeah.
going to be driving their trucks around the city with their flags and yelling out all this racist shit. So it's like I'm going to live more comfortably in that aspect. I'm still going to be broke either way, but at
Yeah.
least I'm not going to have to be looking over my shoulder at these racists.
And 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 does that still happen to you? Like I'm sure that's probably happened before, but like in
It
your
was really it
area,
was really bad in those Trump years.
really,
Yeah, it got really bad in those Trump years.
it's very interesting because I talk to a lot of people that own businesses, and from the business side, Trump actually made a lot of people money, especially black minorities, Spanish minorities, a lot of people that was in the business side quarter, because the everything was like it was cheaper to buy at home at the time,
Yeah.
even though there wasn't a lot of markets for like say fabrics and stuff like that. It was cheaper, and it made people have to buy products from in our country, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
However, it that's how I see it, and that's what I was going to vote on Trump for because I am a business owner. I want to own a business, right? So I need my money to go as far as possible.
Yeah.
Um, and that was going to be really my reason for voting for him. And you're right about like the behaviors, how he treated. I hated how he treated migrants and Mexicans and people crossing the border. That it was disgusting. It
Yeah.
was truly disgusting. No one. It was funny to hear in a way like this guy is a monster, but like you with politics, you gotta just choose whatever you need for yourself,
Yeah.
and you can't even think about everybody else. Like, and it sucks, but it's true. I can't think about you or Tom. It's because our goals are all different,
Yeah.
So,
And I agree
but
with
so
that, except to me, there are these circumstances that are just extreme. Like, I keep going back to children in cages. Like, I cannot
but
support anyone. Like, Donald Trump could come in here and give me the best blowjob I've ever had. I still wouldn't vote for him because he had children in cages.
feel that I can't vote for any Democrat, for example, because in the last 4 years we've been ran by Democrats, and look at how many Democratic politicians and leaders and donors have been caught doing trafficking of
Yeah.
children.
And that's, I mean,
So
that's all over the Clintons, everybody on that Epstein list, and nobody's getting
think
prosecuted.
no one, you know what I'm saying? Even and so far is I know it's going to take a minute because we have a slow government and prosecuting takes years and all that stuff like that. There are CEOs on a run right now in some countries, but like it is clear to me that like when it comes to children weapons and drugs in our country are the most lucrative business. It's so lucrative our politicians do it,
Yeah. Yeah, and
you know.
and it's like you said, it's disgusting, and it's a big greed because I mean they're already wealthy, they're already living, better than 99% of us,
All of us.
and they still gotta do something gross. It's like at that point, if I was
Yeah.
living that well, I wouldn't like I would do some gross shit right now. I'd sell some ass or something because I'm broke. But once I had that kind of money, like I see no sense of doing gross shit to get more money. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting? Because I always get to play because I used to make a lot of money before, like when I was younger. And there was a part when my father was doing so well, we basically was hood rich. And before he got addicted to drugs. But what I learned with having access to that money for a few years, that like I was able to like, okay, I know what it's like. And then I went into foster care and went in houses with, so I know what money looks like and how to be in the energy. And I always told myself like never, because I am a cold person and I know I can lack remorse in certain aspects of life. So I have to be very careful about entertaining certain things.
Yeah.
Saying and when it comes to business and making money, I know I will be successful. God willing, with his will, I will be successful because I know that's what he wants for me. But at the same time, I understand I'm a human being and I need to be very aware of my addictions and bad habits.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility.
Hey, do you still smoke?
Um, no, just so far just taking vapes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just got a vape.
That's
I
terrible.
know, but I don't like the vape enough anyway, and I barely do it. What's the percentage on it? Hold on. So this one is at 47,
You had it for a minute,
47. Hmm?
and you've had it for a minute.
Yeah, I had it for a minute.
Hey, Stephen Hawking was on that Epstein list.
I saw him
Isn't
on
that
there.
crazy? What do you think? Like he was doing down there?
We all know he was. Hey, can I get that little girl over there who has the fat ass?
Oh, Jesus.
I never had a black woman before. Ah. Her asses are so juicy. Steven, you want to come in the back room and touch her ass or have her sit on a black girl sit on your face? As long as she's 15 and ripe, I am great for the black fruit. Jungle fever. Like, I feel like he was just getting his
Jungle
dick
fever.
rubbed. He
What?
was probably the easiest paycheck. If I was a girl getting trafficked, I would always try to like go after him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, let me entertain him.
Yeah, but he probably like people in wheelchairs usually have that swass going on.
Oh, little stinky stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some people like
I
that.
mean, because you're in
But
a wheelchair
Steven
the
had
whole
a
time.
whole wife.
You can't. Yeah, but you can't clean like. Can't be fresh down there. You know what I mean?
Wasn't he pretty wealthy himself though
Oh
too?
yeah,
Like I
he
mean,
was. What was?
yeah. So let's
How did
see.
the
You
talking
don't think a man
happen?
like that would pay for a bitch to clean his ass? I
Oh, that's
would.
true. How did that happen though? Like, how did he talk? Like, because I never see like he can't type. His hands are all weird. Was there like a chip in his brain or some shit or what?
No chips. He can he can move his fingers in a particular way, and I believe the wheelchair that he had was basically you wouldn't notice it, but he had the wheelchair that he had was able to like get out certain phrases and stuff like that. From what
Okay.
I was told
But
years
but
ago,
how
I
was
don't
it
even know
like
how it's
attached
true.
to his spinal cord like Doc Ock or some shit? What the hell?
No, I heard from what I was told years ago was that his chair had some type of like computer because he could still move his fingers and he can just click. He just got so fast and well with saying words fast
He
enough
was
with
just
the
fluent. You
jaws.
motherfucker. Yeah. What?
So
Where is that wheelchair now?
it must be
Like in the
under the
Smithsonian
ocean
or
with
something?
the submarine.
He didn't die on the submarine. What the
You
fuck?
sure?
What are you talking about? What did he? When? How did he die? Actually, he just died from being like from his condition. What the fuck did he even have?
What's sickle cell? Not sickle cell. What is that disease called? I mean, to be honest with you, no one should really be surprised when a human being went most of their life wheelchair bound. Well, not all their life, but gets wheelchair bound and doesn't experience life that they will be easily convinced to like do evil things like this. I mean,
Oh yeah,
come
had
on
it.
now. I'm not
Amyot-
surprised by that at all.
amyotrophic lateral sclerosis (ALS), commonly it's Lou Gehrig's disease, is what he had.
Yeah, yeah. Find out about the chair. What type of chair he had. What's up with that chair? How was
Let's
he
look that up.
speaking?
Yeah, where is Stephen? I want to know where it is. Stephen
What's his chair? You know what? Maybe we should buy his
Hawking.
chair. That'd be lit.
That would be badass.
Like, how much does a Stephen Hawking chair cost? It has to be in a museum somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
it is. The Science Museum. Stephen Hawking's collection at the Science Museum includes all but three of his existing wheelchairs. So there's three out there that aren't in
I
there.
see. So he got upgraded chairs.
Yeah.
So as his career and technology got better, he upgraded his chairs.
Jesus. And then he'd go fuck little girls on the island or little
I mean,
boys. I think we like
there was
boys
no
or
way he was
girls.
fucking though.
Well, do you think so? I mean, there was a point in time when I would have said, "There's no way he's talking," and he was doing that.
I mean, but he was using
Yeah,
technology. I
maybe he
mean,
was
and he could still move his
about
fingers. I mean,
technology about
what the
his.
fuck?
Maybe the chair had a thing that made his wiener stiff.
Wait. Are you saying his chair had hop job? What what do you call them when the cars the you
Like
Mexicans make the cars
hydraulics.
hydraulics?
Yeah,
Yeah, hydraulics. Like you telling me he got a Mexican to make his chair bump up and down?
he fucking get anyone to do anything. Honestly, it sounded like.
You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be crazy. Like if a Mexican be like Stephen Hawkins, yo, I got you. And he just make his chair mad fire. He like when you fall, press this button. Make sure your dick is hard. Press this button, home.
Then
Yeah.
I like to think the guy that did that for him like wouldn't have done it if he would have known about the island. It was
Oh
like
hell no.
like he had standards, you know.
Like, oh, you want it for children? No.
Like never mind. Oh shit. Well, we'll start wrapping up the show now. You were talking about your future wedding and your dream
Yeah.
wedding and stuff. So obviously, you've probably thought a lot about like groomsmen and bridesmaids and that whole kind of
Yeah.
thing. Now, that some people think that's like a difficult choice to make, but even more difficult choice to make might be pallbearers. So the question we asked, first time on the show, we always ask if you were to die tonight, who would your pallbearers be tomorrow?
It would be my mentor, Aaron. It would be Gritty. Um, it would be Father Moran and probably my boy. Shit, that's because they're usually four people, right?
We usually go six. I think it's six.
Oh,
I think it's
six.
three on
Okay,
each
then I would
side.
do. Then it would have to be my boy Hydro, um, Patrick, and shit. I don't even know who. You know what? Dre.
Yeah, that's
I like Dre. Well, even though me and Dre are not the closest, I still have a lot of. Did I say Eddie?
no, you didn't. So that's
Oh, so
six.
then
That
you
would
have
be
Eddie.
six.
There you
There you
go.
go. There you go. Yeah. Do you want to be buried when you pass, or are you a cremation
No,
kind of
I'm
guy?
not. No,
Are you
don't put me in. That's
cremated?
bad for the environment.
Putting you in the ground?
And those caskets and doing embalmings and that's
Oh yeah,
bad
yeah.
for the environment. I
It
don't.
is.
I don't. I don't.
I think we should go
Give me
back to
back to the
just
earth.
burying you and like wrapping you in a sheet and throwing you in a hole. Like back
You
in the
know
day.
what? That's not a bad idea. I mean, find me. I don't need ashes. I don't need anything. Just find me a nice cherry blossom tree. bury a hole and just use me as fertilizer.
Yeah.
Give me back to the earth.
Yeah, because when you go to these cemeteries, there's a lot, like, there's the greenery is incredible because of that, because all the fertilizer. That, and they run out of room in the cemeteries. My other idea is, like, they should bury them, instead of laying down, it should be, like, standing up, like, vertical.
I don't know why they don't do that, but that's a good idea. And the caskets should be biodegradable.
Yeah. Yep.
You
See,
know,
we
there's
have...
an awesome company that makes the biodegradable caskets. So that's probably what I'll do.
What are they made out of? Like apples and
I'm
shit?
not sure. I'm not actually sure. It's been a few years since I've seen the advertisement, but when I saw it a while ago, I was like, that's my thing.
Oh,
That's
you
what
ever
I'm
see
doing.
that advertisement for if you die, they can turn you into a tree?
No, that's a thing that people could do. I'm
Yeah.
down for that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is lit. Wait, do they just graft you to the tree? Because I know you can kill a man. I've always imagined like tying a person up to a tree if they piss me off and like leaving them in the woods for months
And they just...
as the tree eats their body.
Yeah, because I've seen sometimes, like, if there's a fence, the tree will just start swallowing the chain link fence out here outside my house. The
Yep.
chain link is inside the tree now, so I can see how
Yeah.
that would happen to a person. But no, I think that's some sort of cremation maybe, and I don't know what they do to but they put your remains are in the seed in the ground, and then
See, what I would want is for them to put me like on a cross, on a tree, right? And just leave me there in the middle of the wild after my death and let me just like fade into the tree.
yeah, that's actually
Now
a
that's
cool
fire.
idea. That's actually pretty badass.
See what I'm saying? And then when I'm almost done in the tree, you carve out my face and you make sure that so when people walk past the tree, they could always see my face.
There's
in
the
tree.
face on the tree,
Yes.
and then like they
Yes.
stick their dicks in your mouth and stuff.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Well, you could do whatever you want at that point.
Like a
Put it
knot
in my
hole.
mouth.
You ever put your dick in a knot hole?
In a what hole?
In a knot hole, like in a tree?
No, I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never randomly wanted to put my dick in things. That
Really?
didn't belong. No.
Yeah, if I had a dick like yours, because I've seen it,
You would just put
I'd
it
be
in
sticking
random
it.
holes.
I'd be sticking it everywhere. Yeah.
You know what? Next time I'm gonna go outside after this episode. I'm gonna open up the gas tank and I'm gonna put my dick in my car.
That's a good idea.
That'd be crazy if I like that shit. If I, like that'd be wild.
It was a life-changing
I'll let you know if I
event. Now
like
you're just one of those guys that fucks their cars all the time.
fuck their cars, yo. And I do call her Lucy too. Like, Lucy.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I've created a monster, man. Well,
You may have.
Mo, the crows are telling us it's time to go, and really appreciate you coming on the show. So before we leave, any parting words, or we good to go?
I think my friends Justin and Gritty and Dway are coming out the closet. They keep showing this thing in the group with this guy, and he's this weird white guy that just likes BBC. I don't care about his name, but I think my friends are coming out to me, and I just think they need to stop because it's too aggressive. So I just want to let the Gritty Knows Best podcast members to know, like, I feel really uncomfortable with your aggressiveness of coming out. If you're gonna come out gay, just come out.
I think we should support them in their gayness, though.
No, I support them, but they're a little bit too aggressive about it right now.
Just tone it
just come
down a
out.
bit. Tone
Just
down.
tone it down. It's a
Tone
little
down that
aggressive.
rainbow a little bit, guys.
Yeah, tone down that rainbow. It's too many of them. Right? Too bright.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming. Hopefully, we'll do a part 2 some other time. But we'll see you all on the next one.